Hello guys, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Drayton Town career mode. So we are on to the player contracts. We've done the history of the club, we've done the history of the players and who will be playing the side. Now the important bit is signing them up into the team. Obviously, unfortunately, you have to do it the long way round, I guess, when it comes to this sort of career mode, because you have to go into the free agents list and then sign them up on a contract. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll work down the list and then we'll just get everyone signed, sealed and delivered. Importantly, that I want everyone either on clean sheets or goals. If it comes down to appearances, I'll have to sort of accept it. But ideally, I don't really want that. I just either want goals or clean sheets. And people's ratings, if they're the same sort of rating player, then I will more definitely give the same sort of contract and make it fair as I possibly can. The higher end of the contracts and better players will obviously have higher signing on bonuses, fees and everything like that. But we'll start with Sov and we'll get this underway. Looking forward to seeing what their players actually have and what their agents have. If it's orange on the side, by the way, it means that their agent is doing it for them, which means that we can change it, but not by much in that respect. So we'll have a quick look. So Sov will be on Crucial. 5 years, which is a lot. No release clause. I'm not expecting anyone on a release clause, to be honest. I just can't see it. That's how it goes. If people are on a release clause, we'll see. 5 clean sheets for Sov for £2,600. It's a low clean sheets, but it's still a clean sheet, which is good. Okay, so we now move on to Ian, the home goalkeeper this season. I was just trying to think. I was just going to see if I was going to change it, but Ian definitely will be the home goalkeeper this season. Normal contract, 5 years. So we'll now go on to the appearance. I guess obviously clean sheets. We'll try and base it around fairness. So like him and some are the same. So 400, like 3 grand signing on bonus, which is fine. And clean sheets, I'd say 10 clean sheets for 10 grand. Makes it fair, I suppose. A grand per clean sheet. And Ian accepts it, so that is great that we have at least the keepers on clean sheets. Now we move on to Jan, who is our last goalkeeper. Okay, so we move on to Jan now, the third and final goalkeeper that we have. We'll put Jan on rotation, even though he'll be the cup person. No, Jan is going into important, apparently. I don't understand how, but it's fine. Okay, so they've offered the exact same as Sov here. 5 clean sheets for, so the same contract as Sov is on. Jan will be on the exact same as well, which is fine. It's good. All keepers are on clean sheets. I'm really happy about that. We'll go ahead and accept that. So Jan is now done, and we move on to our defenders. Okay, so we start with Ryan. We'll go from do our full-backs on the left end to our right, and then we'll go on to our centre-backs. So Ryan is going to be an interesting one because he'll play every single game, home and away. So we'll see what he will have for his contract. It'll be important. Everyone's going to be on 5 years, so I don't have to worry about it going forward. It will just be the bonuses and the wages will change. So when I'll come to do the contract, say in a year or two, season's time, then I will not have to edit anything regarding the contract. We'll give Ryan 500 with a 3 grand signing bonus. I feel that's fair enough. 500, 3 grand, signing bonus, a little bit less than Solver, and we'll probably go for 10 clean sheets, 10,000, we'll do the same, £10,000 for 10 clean sheets. Ryan accepts that, so that's fantastic. So that's Ryan done. Move on to Morgan. Just like a couple of other players like Tyler, Alfie and Jan, this is their first time being in the team. So it'd be interesting to see what sort of wages that they get. Obviously, Jan is clean sheet, so it'd be interesting to see what Morgan gets as playing in the Cup. Sporadic role with 5 years, which is great. We won't have any contract clause in there. So Morgan's agent's done it. So the first time that they've done it, I think, for an outfield player anyway, is the normal. I think the £3,400 is the normal base here. That's what it feels like to me. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so we'll go ahead and accept that. So Morgan is on appearances, which is probably fair because he will be a cup person. So Morgan's done, and we will now move on. On to Dave, a new recruit as well from Dave joining this team for the first time. I can only imagine Dave will probably be on clean sheets or maybe appearances, especially because he is in the cup team. So we'll move on. That's great. That's fantastic. Accept that, please. So we're going to be doing it. I wouldn't mind Dave on clean sheets, actually. We'll give Dave £400, and we'll do the normal £3,400 signing on bonus. Because I've known Dave all my life, he has been like an uncle to me. I'll go 5 clean sheets for 7 grand. We'll do that. So 5 clean sheets here for Dave, and we'll build it for 7 grand. Is that what we're saying? 7,000. So 2 grand extra for a clean sheet, which is fine. We'll go ahead and offer that to Dave, see if he accepts, which he does, and we'll move on to Novio now, which is our last fullback. Okay, so on to Novio then. I'm going to imagine Novio will be the same as Ryan, I think. Novio on a crucial role, obvious. Got sniffles here, excuse me. Saying that, Novio is the first outfield player at the moment on a crucial contract. I think he's on a higher wage, personally. With that said in mind, we'll give Novio his recommendation wage of £700. A very, very good and key player. We'll go for £4,000 with his wages, and then we'll go for clean sheets, but we'll go a little bit higher. We'll go 15 clean sheets for £25,000, just because he's that little bit better, and I expect more from Novio in that respect. So we'll go ahead and offer that to him. He's accepted, which is great, and then that's all the fullbacks done, so it's now on to the centre backs. Okay, so on to Chris, which would actually be a really, really funny sort of experiment here, because Chris being in, obviously with his dad manager, Chris would be wanting all the money that he could possibly squeeze out that he would be allowed technically within this sort of role, which is quite funny. We'll give Chris a crucial role just because he's going to be starting home and away as many people this season. Okay, so we're going to be able to do Chris's contract, which is good. Certain people we're going to not do. We'll give Chris the same as Novio, so 700 and then £4,000 wage a month, or weekly wage in it, I think. I'm not too sure, but we're giving the 4 grand. And then do I go the same as Novio? 15 clean sheets, 25 grand. We'll go the same as Novio, so it's fairish that the same sort of players, because they are the same sort of player and ratings. Chris will go ahead and accept that, so that's great. So Chris is now signed, and we move on to his centre-back partnership of Dan. Dan, let's have a look. So Dan will probably be on a crucial squad role as well. We'll give him 5 years. Okay, so his agent's done it, which is fine. It's been a while. Normally they might take it in turns of how many that they're allowed to do, I guess. But Dan's on appearances, which is a little bit frustrating because I wouldn't mind Dan on clean sheets as well, or even goals actually, because Dan's a threat from set pieces. But we'll go ahead and accept that for appearances, and then we move on to Robbie. Okay, so on to Robbie now. I'm just trying to think of Robbie actually, because Robbie's going to be decent. That he'll play in the cups and sometimes in the league, given certain situations. So rotation would be key. No release scores. It's going to be appearances, which is fine. So Robbie is going to be on 350. Is that the same as? Oh, they're giving the same contract as Dan. That's fair enough. Okay, that's fine. We'll move on with Robbie. We'll accept his appearances, and we'll move on to Jaden. Okay, so on to Jaden. Jaden's going to be interesting because I really would like Jaden on goals here, because his aerial threat is absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look. So Jaden, definitely sporadic. Same as Robbie. 5-year contract. A release clause of 2.7 million, which is interesting, but we'll deny that. But it's interesting to know that someone has offered to take a release clause. In retrospect, we'll give Jaden £400 wage with a £3,000 signing bonus. And then I give Jaden 5 goals for £10,000. Just as I said, Jaden's aerial threat will be interesting, so we'll go ahead and do that. Jaden accepts, which is great, and then we'll move on to our last centre back of Ian. This will be an interesting one because, like him and Tony, will probably be the spare players in our team, but they will make appearances and play games. Just that they won't start every cup game or anything like that. So interesting to know that. The appearances is the one that Ian's going to be on, which is fine. Just before anyone gets confused, Ian is a completely different person to the goalkeeper Ian. Ian is actually a guy who I know online on Twitter, who is a massive Leyton Orient fan and also Atletico Bilbao fan. So glad to have him on board. He signs a contract for appearances, and then we move on to our midfielders. So we move on to Tommy. This is where it gets interesting now, because from now all the contracts will be either crucial or important. They're all going to be higher end contracts and all going to be either goals or clean sheets. Saying that, Tommy's agent wants him on goals, which is fair enough. Low end wage, I expected a little bit more for Tommy, especially given the rating is at 65 almost. But we'll go ahead and accept that. 10 goals for Tommy. And we'll move on to his midfield partnership of Paul. Okay, so on to Paul. Ideally, wouldn't mind Paul on clean sheets. More of a defensive man, personally. Important contract role. Wouldn't mind him on crucial, but it doesn't really matter. 5-year contract. Release clause with no. So it will be on. So it will be us to do with his contract. We'll give Paul 500, and then we'll give Paul £3,500. Just because we're nice like that for Paul. £4,000. The interesting thing now is this bonus. 3,500. Clean sheets. I'll say 10 clean sheets, 20 grand. Paul accepts it. Perfect. Okay, so it's always important to get people on clean sheets as a defensive midfielder. Paul accepts. We now move on to Alfie. I don't know what I'm expecting Alfie to be on. rotation because he'll be on the bench starting cup games and coming on, but his agent wants him on important. It's really interesting that you should be able to choose the player's agent of strict, fair, and sort of mediocre, I guess, because it just would make a big difference personally. Alfie's okay, so he wants him on appearances, which is fine. As a cup player, that's interesting. These cup players seem to be getting appearances, but Alfie will be on appearances now, so we'll accept that. Alfie now joins up with us, and we move on to Tyler. Okay, so Tyler, I wouldn't mind Tyler being on goals, in all fairness. This is the first time Tyler's been here since probably about 3 or 4 seasons. Since the last Pompey save that I did. Rotation. Contract denied release clause. Okay, so it's no goals for Tyler, unfortunately, which is a shame. I wouldn't mind him on that. He's on £400 wages. It's actually on appearances, which means that he'll get his appearances. As I said previously, I want all of my players to be able to do their bonus, which is absolutely fine. We'll go ahead and accept that for Tyler, and then we move on to Tony, which is the last of the midfielders. I'll go to Tony. I'm more interested to think that this is Tony's first time actually being here as well. It's interesting as well that a recommended wage of £700, even though Tony's probably the second lowest rated player. No skin off my bones, but it's fine. He's going to be the same on Tyler. It's 5 appearances for Tony, which is fine. Same as Ian. He'll come in off the bench. So we're happy that we're getting appearances for these people. So Tony signs, and now we move on to our wingers. So the first winger we will start with is Jax. Jax would be an interesting one because I would like him on goals. As I've said before, Jax is absolutely dominant. Here he is on goals. He's dominant in the league when he comes off the bench. He had to play because I was injured for about 3 or 4 months in one career save, and he just came on and scored loads of goals. And in another previous one that I've done, he was a top goal scorer in the Papa John's trophy. So definitely going to be there with goals. He wants 5 goals for just over £2,600, so we'll go ahead and accept that. We'll move on to myself now. Okay, so on to myself. Ideally, goals is where I want to go. It's going to be a crucial contract. This is where the wages will be higher, because a recommendation of a wage of dead on £1,000. Let's hope that I get to do it. I don't want my agent touching it. Okay, my agent touches it, but he gives it goals, which is fine. But it's going to be the highest. No, it's not, because Chris and Novi are on 500, 700. So 550 there. See, the signing bonus is higher, so it's the highest signing bonus on 5 grand. And then for 10 goals, 7,400. It instantly jumps up from like a 5 goal if they do it themselves. But it's more importantly, I'm on goals. Definitely here for the challenge. I'll go ahead and accept that, and then we move on to the right side of the wingers, where we will be doing B. Okay, so we move on to B now. I'm ideally going to say that it's got to be the same contract as me. It just has to be. We're near enough the same rated players and skill base, I guess. So we're just going to... Depends if their agents do it. B's going to be on appearances, dude. This is crazy. He'll be fuming. He wants his goal bonus. He don't want no appearance bonus. I'm telling you that now. He gets a lesser signing bonus, but he gets 25 appearances. You can see he's not happy. £12,500. We'll go ahead and accept that, which is a shame, but it means that he'll get his bonus at least, which is more important. So we now move on to Kian, which probably changes, because the interesting thing is do you put Kian on goals now? Because B's not on goals, and it's only me and Jack. So we'll have to see what happens. Kian on a rotation role due to him starting every cup game. Contract length for 5 years. We're going to do the contract, which is interesting, just for the fact of I didn't think we would. We'll give Kian £400, and we'll give him a 2 grand signing bonus. Now the thing is does it go down as of appearances, because he'll get his bonus, or will he get goals? I think I'd rather give him 10 appearances, and for them 10 appearances I'll give him 10 grand. which is fair. Because not everyone's going to get the goal bonus, which makes sense. So Kian accepts that, which is great. So we have 4 more players left, starting next with Neil. On to Neil. I guess with all Neil's experience and everything, he'll be on a crucial role. See, Neil's recommendation wage is 850. Oh, interesting. Okay, so his agent's done it, which the agent seems to be doing a lot of them the last couple of times, except for Kian. But it's £4,700 wages. And then, for 20 goals this season, £15,500. Neil's never done a goal scoring bonus, in all fairness, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. So we'll go ahead and accept that. And Neil has signed, and we move on to Danny. Okay, so on to Danny. Danny might even be one for appearances here. I just don't see his agent giving him goals. I don't know why. His agent is doing a lot of the delegating straight away. His agent does give him goals, so that shut me straight up. A lower end of the wage scale. Probably not that high rated, I guess. Yeah, level 63. For 20 goals, £11,500. Unfortunately, Danny, I don't see you doing that. Don't want to be horrible. We'll go ahead and accept it anyway. Just maybe could have lowered it to 10. Could have been done in it, but it's a challenge for Danny, and he accepts. And we now move on to 2 more players. On to Mikey. This is probably the most important one because Mikey scores a lot of goals. We all know that. He broke the record and scored 55 in one season. I just feel like he might do it again under this team. He thrived. He scored 4 in one match once. He just absolutely thrived in doing it. So I can't see why he's not going to do it. His recommendation wage is 1,500 straight off the bat anyway. So it's high. We're going to be doing it. This is interesting. So we'll give him $2,000. And then we give him $7,000 signing bonus. And then I think for 15 goals, which I know he'll get, if I give him 50,000, use up some of the money that we got. Because obviously he's going to accept it, but it's a challenge for Mikey. No, we only need to use the million, which is decent. We'll go ahead and offer that to Mikey. I'm sure he'll accept it. And then we move on to Ocean, who is the last player. Yep, Mikey accepts it. That's perfect. So now, yes, on to Ocean. To Ocean. Definitely thinking Ocean for goals, dude. Ocean is a wizard when it does come to these goals. He scores a lot of goals. He's a fantastic player. And same as Jax in cup competitions, he's like the top goal scorer. So it'd be interesting to see what his agent does. It is goals. It's a lower end of the scale. £500, 4,200 sign bonus. That's still higher than some people. And then for 5 goals, £3,400, which is doable for Ocean. So we'll go ahead and accept that. That's all the players now completed. So guys, that is all of the players' contracts all signed. Sorry it was a long video. If you're only interested in just your player, just I don't mind if you just skip ahead and just see what your players of your contracts got for the season. But if you are here and let me know that you are doing that, then just let me know down in the comments. That would be great. And also just let me know who you think will complete the bonus and then who won't complete the bonus. It'll be interesting to think what you guys feel like who won't do it straight away. Like, I don't personally think Danny's going to do it, just for the fact that 20 goals is a lot for a player in cups and coming off the bench and sometimes making an impact, whereas like Ocean and Mikey will do it as well. Even Neil, I don't think will do it, because Neil is not a prolific goal scorer. He's more of a creative person and using that experience to create the chances. So with that being said, do let me know what you think, guys. I'll be very interested to know what you think. And then, yeah, we'll move on to the pre-season friendly next. And then we'll go from there, and then it'll be the start of the season. But thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.